Oh, hi guys.
Oh,
That was too.
hello.
You got to give time for someone to get on the front. Here, go back to reading.
Sorry.
Go back to reading.
Oh, I'm reading my inscription. To Tony, you're right. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is better. Thanks so much, Kevin Rafferty. Right.
Ruby, can I have control of this, please?
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry. You guys caught me in the middle of reading one of my favorite books.
It's an amazing book. It features the concept art behind the film with by Ralph McCarthy.
Yeah.
Beautiful artwork as you read the story.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the 8th edition, the 8th episode of Dig a Little Deeper, the show in which we analyze an attraction. We start here, and then we dig.
I'm Deep T-Rex is great.
Today we are doing an attraction like no other. I mean, we've done big stuff. We've done Muppet Vision. We've done other big things.
Indiana Jones.
Joe's Adventure.
Casey Jr.
We've done some extinct attractions, Horizon. But today we are going to the top of the list. Disney's latest and greatest attraction. Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. Before I begin, I am going to give everyone fair warning. If you have not ridden this new attraction and you don't want to be spoiled, put this aside, come back to it in a couple years after you've had a chance to ride it, and then enjoy it, because we will be spoiling the heck out of this attraction in more ways than one. So, with that, let's do some introductions here. My name is Doobie, co-founder of Laughing Place. To my left is Rebecca.
Hi, everybody.
Also the co-founder of Laughing Place, and my lovely wife. Over there.
Eighth show, and we live stream daily, Doobie. Daily.
Over there is Jeremiah Good.
It should be easy because I'm sitting over here, so you just point through me to Jeremiah.
Now I messed it up.
Could have mentioned that before. Jeremiah Good, who is the head of attractions that start with the letter W of Walt Disney World. Over there is Tony. Tony, what's your official title?
I don't know that I have one aside from Laughing Place official punching bag.
Hey, you don't know how many people want that position. And then down in that
could be fun
is Shelly, the head of On the Go in MCO, and she doesn't have an actual role at LP, but she comes with us all the time for this, for our park updates, and whenever else we have her, because she has wonderful insights and great hairstyle. So, Shelly, welcome.
Thank you so much.
And there is one more member of our team who we are hoping will be able to join us soon. His name is Mike. He heads Star Wars for us here at Laughing Place. And so hopefully he'll be joining us later. When he is, we'll pop him back on. But if not, you're going to have fun with just us. So
in the meantime, can you hit that message for me from Jeffrey?
Yes.
Congrats, Jeremiah. What was it?
Thank you.
At the 23 trivia?
I believe he was first loser, if I'm not mistaken.
And you did well at the expo, right?
At the 2011 Expo, when they had the Ultimate Disney Trivia Challenge tournament, I came in third overall, but for the actual trivia part, I came in first. And the only reason I came in third was because John, who we recently lost, I don't remember his last name, but he was the ultimate Disney trivia nerd, was I think he had 18 to my 3 points.
Sounds like John.
Yeah, John as well. John K is all I know. I couldn't pronounce his last name, but really good guy. Before we actually begin the show, I just want to mention one more thing. Please make sure you like this stream. Just click the thumbs up. That helps us out a lot. Please make sure you subscribe to Laughing Place on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We have a website too, laughingplace.com. Not everyone knew that. We found out in our poll yesterday. So make sure you check that out. And most importantly, the reason we are live right now is twofold. One, we are lazy and don't want to edit. And two, we want you to be a part of this show. So please contribute. comment, ask questions, make this interactive. Otherwise, our boss is going to say, why are we doing this live? And we're going to have to start working, and then we're probably not going to do them anymore. So please become part of this show. Let's go. With that, Rebecca, you want to start?
No, I didn't.
All right.
Editing.
What are you talking about? But no, sure.
Old-fashioned editing. I think now
Yeah.
it's just like click, click, click.
Well, Jeremiah. I mean, since Jeremiah and Shelley were there opening day and whatnot, shouldn't we let them kind of share what it was like?
Shelley, why don't you talk about Rise of Resistance from conception through its design and then it finally its launching in the theme parks?
All right, everybody, buckle up because this is going to be a good one. I would like to bow that honor to Jeremiah because he is far more versed than I am. I can heckle like I normally do.
There you go. You guys weren't. You three are in the theme park vicinity, so you guys got the excitement.
You'll find out soon.
Of watching it develop and then having the land open, but it wasn't quite there, so it was this constant tease. So I'm going to let you guys kind of bring us into the attraction. Go for it, Jeremiah.
Oh, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge coming soon, not to one theme park, but to two. That was how Bob Iger sold us on it 4 years ago at the D23 Expo. Was that 4 years ago? No, I guess 5.
Should have been Park 5.
Yeah. Sorry. Because my ear. So we all had a feeling. We all kind of knew that Star Wars was moving its way in. We got enough teases over the years, but we had no clue. Like, we knew Disney's Hollywood Studios, they were closing down a lot of things. Something was coming. We really had no idea that Disneyland was going to be getting it. I think that was more the shocker when they announced it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the chance to watch them tear down all the backlot, lights, motor, action. Sorry, Gideon, I know that was one of your favorites. And then watch them completely rebuild from scratch. Tony, just mute yourself now. The most amazing land and one of the most amazing attractions ever built. Go on, Doobie.
One of the interesting things when Bob Iger made that announcement, he announced Star Wars Galaxy's Edge with 2 major attractions. But then, as it turned out, Galaxy's Edge opened with 1 major attraction, and they ended up pushing off Rise of the Resistance to be opened at a later date.
Yes, and I have had the chance to speak with some friends who may or may not work for a company that has 3 initials that starts with a W and ends with an I. So Rise of the Resistance is one of the most technological advanced attractions that Disney has ever done. I would definitely go outside and say, of all the attractions that I've been on around worldwide.
Yeah. How many?
Shelley.
Wait! Tell me, you've been around the world, Jeremiah?
I didn't even have to do lifting on that one.
I know.
How many different types? I mean, let's take people through the attraction a little bit, just in case. How many different ride systems do we? Because we're in the queue. We have that interactive element of the queue, which for me is my favorite part of the entire experience. Is my data pad and doing stuff while I'm in the queue, because I, like many other people, am not a huge fan of the attraction. I'm just gonna put it out there right away. And then so when you go through the queue, so you have that in the queue. You have your pre-show element where you encounter characters both real and like a visual film, and then you move over to the ride transport, which is a motion simulator type experience, but you're not seated. And then you move from that into a seated thrill ride that's a trackless system. Am I getting the various elements of the ride? I think
you're forgetting the flume ride and the shoot the shoots.
Yes.
I think
the log ride is the best part of it.
I think
That-
that
right.
like overview, that's a really good way of looking at it. But what I really appreciate about the queue is just how well it plays into not only the story of the land, but how it plays into the story of the attraction. Because hey, Mike,
Is here.
Mike,
since
good to
it
see you,
said
everybody. So
Yay!
before you continue, we're going to go right back to you, Sheila. But Mike, can you tell us again why you are a little bit late?
No. Okay, so
Oh, we can't hear you, Mike. You work on that.
Oh, good. What is this problem we all seem to be having today? Hey, I cannot hear him that low.
Am I good now?
Shelly, go on.
So what I was saying is I really love how it just like plays into the whole thing. I think it worked for a little bit of theming that it was on the outskirts of town, the part where like nobody went, and the cast members did a really good job before the attraction opened, really kind of playing that up like, we don't know what's going on over there. That's kind of the old part of town. We don't really talk about it that much. And then once it opened and you got to go through the queue, and like Rebecca said, there are all the different elements that you can do interactively in the queue, but there's all sorts of things for you to notice. Like you can see when you're walking on the pathway through there, you can see it's uneven. So you can see where in the middle people have traveled a little bit more than on the sides. And then as you're going through the caves, you can see like ancient little like carvings of windows and shelves and all those fun things. So while I like the interactive things, I think I also try to take time to notice something new every time because there is a little something different.
mm-hmm.
Well, one of the things that I've been told is when WDI was starting the entire concept, I mean, the land was already designed, but when they designed the queue, they didn't have a backstory for it. It wasn't until the book came out that we actually knew any of the backstory of what is now the Resistance base. So they were just designing stuff like, hey, it's going to be a massive queue that's got to accommodate, one of the biggest crowds. So let's just do the best we can. And the queue is definitely, it's not at Indiana Jones level, but it is definitely an interesting piece of art to walk through.
Really?
Let's take this chance to bring Mr. Mike C on.
Hello.
Ooh,
You there?
aliens.
Am I good now?
You're
Yeah.
good now.
We can hear you.
Yay.
So we were just talking about the queue specifically, and this seems like a good place to bring you in because there is some debate over to whether or not the Rise of Resistance queue is up to the level of Indiana Jones, two things of which you are huge fans. So what do you think comparing those two queues?
I prefer the Indiana Jones queue, I think, by quite a bit. But I think the Rise of the Resistance queue is pretty cool too. I especially like the waterfall outside, and the two like pre-show areas are pretty neat as well. But I don't think the actual queue.
I'll give you that. Yes, I'll give you that. But I'm like comparing it to from like a theming and detail perspective versus relaxation and ease to get through.
Yeah, but the point of the queue is to relax until you get on the ride. So, also, if you consider the ITS a part of the queue, then it's far superior.
ITS is probably I love every bit of that attraction, but the ITS is amazing.
What's it in your hand?
This is the ITS shuttle.
That's Lego, right?
Yeah, I just built this today.
Yeah.
That's why he was late.
So here's what I'll say about the ITS, and this is, sorry if it's a spoiler. I was not expecting to go in and out of the same door.
So Shelly and I, it was early, like this was before the attraction was even done. We both kind of got a sneak peek, and they took us into the hangar area, but they walked us into the ITS and everything was blocked off, so we couldn't see anything. So we walked through and we looked down and we're like, oh, there's a turntable here. And then we go into the hangar and then they ditch us out. So the first time I rode it, I was just in awe. The entire attraction, the entire vehicle could be its own attraction.
Speaking of the hangar area, so the hangar itself, which I am going to show here as soon as I find the button. So before this attraction came out, this was kind of the image that they were sharing that just had everyone going. And So I'm curious, when you finally got to do it, everyone except Tony, what was your opinion of this? Yeah, no, even Tony. Anybody?
So, do you want to go? Go ahead, Jeremiah.
Oh, well, it was definitely, that was the first wow moment. I mean, you think about Indiana Jones and you walk into the center room of the temple and that's just a wow display. But I think that part alone set the attractions bar so high. And, having 52 first order troopers sitting in there and some of them are sitting there moving around, you sit there and pause and you're like, are they real or are they just Memorex?
It's a very strange experience. Go ahead, Tony.
The one thing I'll say about that room, and actually all of Rise, is actually one of the things that hurts it for me too, is the scale. The scale of that attraction and how just big it is phenomenal. That's probably one of the best things I'll say about that attraction, but it also proves to me that things can be done to that scale where elsewhere they aren't and could be.
What do you mean within the attraction itself?
So it hurts this attraction that other
In my
attractions
opinion.
aren't as big as it? Is that what you're saying?
Right, because it basically tells me, oh, I'll spend money on a 3-minute part of a movie that you could ride through, versus other attractions. Like, okay, so this could have been done this way, but
Wait,
because it's Star Wars, it'll do it that way.
are you saying that part of the reason you don't like Rise is because of how much they spent on it that they could have spent elsewhere?
Yes.
All right.
Wow.
Doobie, you're the one who brought him on. It was you.
Okay, just making sure we understand. I don't mind.
So,
You're wrong. I want it to be clear.
so here's the thing. This kind of is more of all of Galaxy's Edge versus just Rise. I'm going to compare it to the other studios down the street, and they have. Did you mute me?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, Jeff is launching.
Right, Jeffrey.
Oh, okay.
Jeffrey a comment,
Sorry.
and that got me. Oh, let's look at our screen,
Sorry.
and it's on its way up.
Okay. Woohoo!
Thanks,
Got
Jeffrey.
launched. Okay, sorry.
The whole Batu, it kind of jumps on I'll go back to Indiana Jones, where it's an offshoot of the movie. It's not exactly what you've seen in a movie before, but it almost does that too much with Batu because there's for like the casual fan, aside from the Millennium Falcon and maybe a couple of Easter eggs, there's no hard, oh my God, I recognize that. And especially, I know a lot of people aren't huge fans of the newer 3. Jeremiah?
Oh no, keep going. I just called.
Just means he's next.
Oh, okay. So when you go into Rise, I've only seen episode 7. Of all of the new ones, I've only seen episode 7. So I was just kind of like, okay, that's the space German guy, right? And then you have Kylo. I remember Kylo. So I'd rather go and see that amount of money spent on something that, yes, a lot of people are familiar with Star Wars, but something more traditional. Does that make sense?
Jeremiah, does that make sense?
Okay.
So,
Are you saying you prefer to
Counterpoint.
see the original?
If you threw $1 billion at the Star Wars everybody knew, as opposed to a almost marketing attempt at the new film.
So,
Meredith
did you
brings up a very good point.
did you go into Twilight Zone Tower of Terror being disappointed that you didn't know the episode that it was based on, or
That's the fake
Rock and
episode.
Roller
That's what I'm saying.
Coaster?
It's an offshoot of something we already know, but it's there's still the Easter eggs and everything like that, but it's not to that scale. And I'm not saying you need to have a Twilight Zone ride to that scale.
So Tony, if you wanted to establish,
I don't think I'm explaining it well.
if you wanted to establish those emotional anchors, which is what I'm gathering, is you don't feel like this ride has enough emotional anchors with the familiar.
And not for not for everybody. I know I'm in the minority in the fact that I gave up on episode 7. Sorry, Mike. Sorry, Jeremiah. Sorry, Doobie. I saw episode 7 and I walked out. I was like, oh, that seemed an awful lot like episode 4.
Okay. But based on that, like what did you go into this ride hoping you would see and not see?
I was kind of expecting it to be, we'll go back to the Indiana Jones analogy, where it's kind of like the offshoot story, but like right there, he's got the Lego of, help me out here, Vi, is that her name?
Yeah.
Yes. I always keep pointing at the screen, like you guys can see what I'm pointing at.
Yes. And then
in all the marketing, she was the one in place of Rey, where Rey is in the ride now. So I was expecting to see some kind of original story with her. Maybe I didn't need to see all the movies. And that was not the case at all. And then Jeremiah's holding up books.
Mm-hmm.
I don't read those books. How many Disney park goers, in terms of a majority, have read all the Star Wars books?
How many Disney park goers have watched Pinocchio or The Little Mermaid or Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
But those are all okay. This is where we're getting into like a weird thing with me. Those are all more traditionally Disney, whereas Star Wars was acquired and they just kind of jumped on it.
What's that poster behind you, Tony?
A licensed attraction that fit into Tomorrowland as its own thing as part of the Tomorrowland Spaceport, with its own original story featuring this captain, with one familiar scene where you flew into a trench.
Okay, the rest was
interesting. Okay,
let me go to our in-house expert here. And while I know Mike is far too nice to disagree with you. I am curious what he thinks.
I'm sure he will, and that's fine.
No, what he thinks about what Tony's saying and about Disney's decision on where to place Galaxy's Edge and Rise of Resistance in the Star Wars universe.
Well, I actually agree with Tony probably like 95% that the entire land of Galaxy's Edge would have a much larger emotional connection to me personally if it had been set in the original trilogy era. If that's what he's saying, if that's what I understand. I still am very impressed by it and I love it. But I get why they wanted to make it. I get why they wanted it set in the Disney created Star Wars era, and the way that they the kind of like corporate line that they use to explain it also sort of makes sense in that, okay, it's at the end of the timeline, so you can incorporate stuff from all previous eras of Star Wars and have those Easter eggs like peppered throughout. Wow, that's a long comment.
Yeah, it's just agreeing with what you guys. I'm just pointing out that a lot of people out there are definitely on the same page with you guys. Okay, fair enough. I think maybe even Jeremiah would agree. We personally, as old people who have seen the original movies in theaters, would have preferred they have based these on the original trilogy. So let's put that aside for a moment and talk about what they actually built and how just incredibly amazing the ride, Rise of the Resistance, turned out to be, despite the fact we have no emotional connections with it. Shelley, do you remember your first time riding Rise?
I do. I was very overwhelmed, and I tried to kind of like go in it very blank and just kind of experience it in the moment. And I just remember, Jeremiah, we were together for my first ride, weren't we?
I think so.
I cried. Like, I was just like so overwhelmed. It wasn't like, oh, like my heart, my soul is in this story, but it was just such an overwhelming accomplishment and experience that I was just like, I don't think I talked for like 2 minutes, which is just like not even a thing. But it just washed over me. And I think that's the way you kind of have to do it your first time, is just go in, let the experience go. Don't go, okay, well, what's this? What's this trick? What's that trick? How did they do this and how did they do that? I feel like you kind of have to let stuff go for those first couple of rides and just kind of let it sink in, because there's so much about the story that we're still learning as you're on the ride. And this first couple times, you're just kind of digesting.
What about you, Rebecca? Do you remember your first ride on Rise of Resistance and your emotions as you came off and wiped away a few tears? And
Okay, so when they announced Galaxy's Edge, I like to think of it as everything Rebecca doesn't want in her theme park experience, because they were describing this land where I would be randomly accosted by various residents of Batu and engaging in a storyline in which I may or may not enjoy what role they've decided I'm going to play in it. This was how I processed the Galaxy's Edge announcement, and I am a rather I'm like towards the passionate end of the Star Wars fandom. I'm not. I read a number of the legacy novels and all that kind of thing. I've read beyond the films, that type of thing. I'm not as passionate and knowledgeable as Mike C, but I'm way more knowledgeable than this dude over here.
You read Imzadi.
So no, stop it. That's Star Trek. You drive me crazy. So oh, it drives me crazy. He does that with this and Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers. He blends them all together randomly, and it's annoying. Okay,
and Uncle Buck's cabin at Universal.
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
But okay, so for me, that was kind of, I was very hesitant about trying to get. I was such a fan of Star Tours. When Star Tours came out, I was like, I thought it was the most perfect thing ever. I was in the movie. It was the moment in the movie that I adored. Everything about it to me was perfection as far as what I wanted in a Disney crafted Star Wars experience. But when they announced Galaxy's Edge, I was like, this is everything I don't want, but I'll be interested to see how it goes. So the first time we went to Galaxy's Edge, it wasn't available. And I had a lovely time because they had dialed down all the stuff that everybody was expecting didn't happen. In fact, they dialed it down even more so than I am happy about. I would like to see a bit more. Okay, compare it to Star Wars weekends at Disney MGM Studios. When you would walk that area by the stage room,
Commissary Lane.
Yes, when you would walk that back
or
Pixar Place.
That's now.
When it was Mickey Avenue, yeah.
Yeah, that avenue over there. You would like kind of randomly stumble on various bounty hunters or Jawa, but it wasn't like I felt like I had to engage with them, but they were there, and it just felt like you were kind of in this world of Star Wars. And so I wish there was more of that at Batu than there is currently. But I loved the Millennium Falcon attraction. Nobody else in my party did. I was the only one who got off that ride. So excited. Hit single rider. I would leave my family for an hour and go ride that thing over and over and over via single rider line. Whereas the rest of my family could, whatever. They were done. So then we come back and Rise is open. And it's like, we must do Rise. And okay, first of all, it's really stressful because you only have this one chance we only had one day in that park. And it's like, and you have to get your boarding pass and God in seconds and I'm like, okay, so what happened to us was where we were staying, our phones all connected to the local Wi-Fi, and it shifted the clocks. And so when we woke up, we actually were 20 minutes later than we wanted to be waking up, as I remember. Yeah. And so it was like, just throw on clothes and run. It was like this madhouse of energy to get to the park so that we could be sure that we were inside the park, so that we could be sure that we could, and so there we are. And I'm like this bundle of nerves, and I have my son with me who's excited, and I'm like, I can't let him down. And the stress was ridiculously enormous.
Tony drinks his tea.
And the thing is for me, I was like, I get it. I don't get it. No big deal. But I felt this stress as a parent or as part of this group of people who I was with who all wanted to ride it. And so then I wish I was making up my stress level, but I'm really not. I was so, my fault.
That right there is the biggest problem with the ride.
It is so funny how stressed I was. But then I got group number 22.
Yeah, we got it like that. No problem.
my phone. I was super fast. and that happened when we went to Disneyland a few months later, and we tried it again. I was also escorted. So then we get there, we go, and we're in the queue, and I'm doing the data pad stuff, and I'm enjoying the data pad stuff, engaging with Finn, trying to reprogram a droid to help with the resistance. This was fun. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the engagement of being part of the story, but without having to be directly part of the story. That was cool to me. And then we get on the ride, and I really enjoyed the ITS, the shuttle transport, when we were on this vehicle and we're moving and there's screens in front and back, above. I mean, just the immersive nature of being aboard that transport shuttle was super awesome for me. And then we entered the hangar, and that's when I was done. I'm like, can I leave now? After the hangar, because from then on, for me, that section with the First Order is way too similar, and Lucas intended the Empire to reflect Nazi fascism. So it was way too disturbing for me. I did not enjoy it. I found it very stressful. I really, really, really was uncomfortable and did not enjoy it. And it took long enough for me to kind of recoup from how little I enjoyed the First Order interaction, to where by the time the ride was over, I still was kind of processing that. Look, I'm not going to say it's a terrible attraction. It's a good attraction. It's just not for me. I've ridden it twice. If I don't ride it again, I'm fine. If I could just ride the shuttle part and leave, I'd be thrilled. But it's just that, and that, like I say, because of the emotional notes it hit for me. That's all.
Mike Celestino.
Good morning, Mike.
Especially given your Star Wars background, what was your general sense riding Rise the first time?
Well, I'll say that I haven't ridden it yet when I've felt fully alert. I've been on it, I think, 8 times, but the first 7 were at the media event, and I think I had to be there at like 6:30 a.m. So I left Burbank at 5:15 probably, and got up at 4:30 that morning. So I was like I am now. And then the second time, it was one of those lottery situations that you're talking about, where my wife and I went down, and that was her first time going on the ride. By the way, that second/8th time that I went on it, a lot of stuff wasn't working. The Kylo Ren animatronic wasn't there, and
did you get B mode with the ship?
Yep. Yeah, and the lightsaber through the elevator ceiling wasn't working, so I was like, "No, this isn't functioning the way it should be." I would really like to go on it at some point when I'm feeling rested, so we'll see if that ever happens. But you know what? I think, sadly for me, the bulk of the experience had been spoiled already just because of my job and having seen so much of the B-roll. And I think I had watched Jeremiah's videos because it opened in Florida months before it opened here. And I don't know. I think it's one of those things where I'm going to need some distance from it before I can really give you my true, honest opinion of it. I think it's an amazing achievement in immersion. And I think the thing that really sells the ride for me is the magic trick of convincing you that you've gone into space. Like, that's really the great thing about it. And I think you could have that entire thing without even having the dark ride portion of it, like Rebecca was saying. And it would still be just as incredible, that moment when the same door opens that you entered through, like Tony said, and you're on the hangar bay of the Star Destroyer. Mm-hmm. That's to me, that's undoubtedly and undeniably the best moment of the entire experience. And the first like 3 or 4 times I did it, I kept moving toward that other door. When it was getting ready to open, I was like, oh, we're going to go out this other door because that's the way this is going to work. And then you're like, oh, and then you get the goosebumps and you step out and well, officer comes in. Unlike Rebecca, I did really enjoy the cast member interactions with the First Order officers because I'm probably more into like immersive theater and stuff. And
My son loved it too. So
yeah, what's up, Tony?
I've done it 4 times. Maybe 4, maybe 5. I don't whatever. A minimal compared to others in this video.
Twice.
Sorry. Okay. A median somewhere compared to the other. More math terms. I don't know. So the few times I've done it, it's been hit or miss with the cast members. They're either not into it at all or they're way over the top. And when they're way over the top, it's not fun in a different way than what Rebecca was saying. To me, it's just like, oh God, go back to Winter Garden. Like it's the CP, like I'm going to get into show business because you're telling me to go down the hallway with an aggressive tone. Or there's the other one that's like, that way, go that way. I like this spot because I don't have to smile that way.
The other thing the other thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about it was both the first time that we went on the attraction, the interrogation room audio was out of sync, and so it was like a Godzilla. So they were talking, and then their mouths were moving, and then nothing, and then we would hear the audio. So they actually ended up repeating the interrogation room for us because of that.
But then we got to stay in there for a long time, which was kind of cool because you got to hear all the little subtle sound effects of them working to get you out of there, which was really, really impressive.
And then the second time we rode it when we were on the West Coast, the interrogation room to the rescue, the door like moved like as they were rescuing us.
It wasn't a fast rescue.
And so the sense of urgency was very much, kind of lost in the moment.
I would like to speak for a moment because someone needs to speak up for the most the most advanced attraction Disney has ever created. So,
totally.
I, like Heather, am just a casual Star Wars fan. I did read a book, which I can't say because my wife will get mad at me, that has nothing to do with Star Wars, apparently. But
The Wrath of Khan.
On this, wanting to see a great attraction. Gideon had shown me the video before, so I knew everything to expect, and yet I was completely blown away by it. Completely. I didn't even notice I got in and out of the same door. I was just enjoying the simulation. It was so cool. And then stepping into the Grand Cavern was blowing me away. And we stood in there a long, long time just checking it out. I mean, I realize it's just a huge screen, but it works. And then the First Order. I love the First Order. I had so much fun with the First Order, right, Gideon?
Go into your cell. One side, left or right. This is the last free will you have.
They were picking on me, and I was loving it and picking on everybody.
You were pressing on buttons, and they told you to stop.
And then, the ride itself they got right because they did not make it interactive. I hate interactive rides. I love interactive experiences, but I hate interactive rides. And I didn't have to press any buttons. I didn't have to make any choices. I didn't have to pretend like I was doing something. I just got to sit there and ride. I'm a huge fan of that. It had surprises. When you go up, I mean, I knew to expect to go down, and I was I was ready for that. I wasn't ready for the sensation of going up when you meet the AT-ATs, and that's the one that really made us jump, even though I'd seen the video a million times. The animatronics are great. The use of screens is great. The way they have all these different ride systems put together, culminating in a simulator, and the room where they're firing out the thingies at the thingies, and you have to wait for them to fire and recoil.
Those thingies.
That was just so cool. I mean,
I like technical term.
The attraction works. It works beautifully. And anyone that's complaining about it because of the weird, I understand Tony's primary complaint. It is a pain to get on. You're not wrong, and they could greatly improve it by somehow fixing that. But I'm just looking at the attraction itself. You get on the attraction. The attraction is almost perfect. That is all.
You see what they should do for the boarding group? I'm pretty sure.
Doobie's rant.
Wow.
I've always
where's
said,
Doobie's rant?
After the hangar, that 4.5 minutes, I love that it's I would say 80% practical as opposed to other parks where it's like, okay, get in this similar system and throw on some glasses. Let's go for a ride. Whereas this is all animatronics and everything like that. But you said the animatronics are great, and there's one specifically, at least in Florida, I can't vouch for California, that stands out to me, and I think Shelly's knows where
on both coasts.
Which one?
Because I'm fairly confident we used to be very familiar with that animatronic on the bridge. I've heard to the contrary that it's not, but it moves exactly the same way as the Wicked Witch when she goes, "Was it you?" and turns. Kylo goes, "How very brave," or something like that, and does the same movement. And I'm just like,
I'm sure that's something the average guest realizes as they ride the attraction. Oh, no.
I'm sure of that too, but my nerd eyes can't unsee it.
See, I completely disagree. Kylo on the bridge moves amazing. Hux just goes like this. And I found out that that's because he was like, if they had one more dollar that they needed cut off the budget, it would have been Hux disappearing off the bridge.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
How does this different than I think it was Cole who's never been on it, so I don't think I'm going to ruin it too much for him. How is this different than, say, Mystic Manor in Hong Kong, aside from the pre-shows?
Well, all dark rides are all trackless rides are essentially the same. There's the room where you go around.
The animatronics, the effects, and everything like that, the projection use, and how it all blends together beautifully. Aside
it's all
from the pre-shows, how is that different?
It's complete story. It is you are living Mystic Manor, Winnie the Pooh, the horrible penguin ride at SeaWorld, all use the same technology, but they don't have the same stories. Mystic Manor, Ratatouille, and Winnie the Pooh, were all the original trackless rides.
Oh,
Runaway Railway, yeah. Actually, Runaway Railway and Mystic Manor are very much more similar than Rise of the Resistance and any other.
My question is it more the pre-shows than the actual attraction experience? No. Okay.
No, I mean, every attraction is unique, and especially with this, I mean, I'm sure Mike, once he'd rather have Darth Vader and Tarkin on the bridge, but pulling in and being on the bridge and looking up would be that's a highlight of the attraction just from that one little scene. Mike?
What was the question?
Is the part where you pull into the bridge not one of the highlights of the entire attraction just because you're actually on the bridge of a Star Destroyer?
I think
it doesn't matter.
I actually prefer the climax where you meet the final Kylo Ren animatronic and the TIE fighter crashes into the window and the air starts blowing you out toward the elevators. That part stuck out more in my memory than the bridge part.
That's one of the beauties of this attraction. I think it constantly builds up to be better and better and better. It doesn't, peak and then just. So that's one of the cool things. I will tell you one disappointment I have. This is not a perfect attraction, and I watched it with Gideon earlier today just to remind me. Considering how much of it is based on screens, and not too much, but there are a fair amount of screens, and how much of it is based on narration, that there's not more randomization in it. That, unless other than timing, they're inserting stuff for timing, you really get the exact same experience every time. When I think there's opportunities to have when you meet the stormtroopers screen for that to differ, certainly for some of the narration to differ, so it doesn't always say, good thing they didn't see you or whatever it is they say. I do wish they had made it vary a little more from time to time. That way, people have even more reason to ride it over and over again, making it even harder to get on it that first time.
Mike's gone.
Where'd Mike go?
Mike said no.
We accidentally said Mike instead of me.
No, I did not do that. Mike just disappeared.
Okay.
No, I definitely agree. Like In the new time, it is much easier to get on Rise if you can get a park pass reservation because they have the 2 different times. And thankfully, the My Disney Experience app has gotten better. So if you know what you're doing, you can get a time pretty quickly. So I've gotten a chance.
As an asterisk, if you know what you're doing, you can do it.
Well, even now, I mean, I talked to somebody who had never been. They said, well, what do I have to do? And I said, just be on the app, hit join, and then you're good. And he got on, I think he said he was in 14 minutes after the after the time started.
So Tony, would you rather this just be a 4-hour wait line like every other ride and that's that?
Yeah, because if I see that it's 4 hours, I can opt not to. I don't have to pick a random lottery and then I'll get assigned a 6-hour wait and then come back later in the day.
Fine that it didn't break down.
Yeah.
So yes. So this is what I'll say on that whole aspect. This ride, in my opinion, was very much designed for Florida. You're here for a week. You can kind of commit a day to this park. I can come in and get the virtual boarding boop. California, where it's 70% annual pass holders, might come in after 4 o'clock. They have no chance on getting on the ride.
Which is good for the people, because I'm sure those annual pass holders have gotten their ride. They've gone early and gotten their ride or two. And now it gives better opportunity for the people who are just here on vacation to make sure they get on it.
I don't know. I wish I had more time in the queue to play the game.
I didn't do that. I can't vouch for anything with that. Sorry.
So, I mean, I wish that I don't know if I'd wait 6 hours, but like going in and like having the opportunity to spend time playing the games and doing more in the queue, I think would be a lot more fun than I felt like I was holding people up because it was like, oh, I got to scan this box. Oh, there's another box. You know, oh, I got to like line up my lasers or whatever the heck it was, my radar or whatever it was.
That is
and
a weird.
Just like Jeremiah's just like left, and I'm just like, which left?
So we'll go back to its neighboring cousin. The day after Runaway opened, I waited an hour and a half for it. And then I loved it so much, I got out of line and waited an hour and a half again. I had that option. That's not something you have with Rise. And I don't know. I just feel like that detracts away from what could make it great, at least to me. Like you watch all the old specials and stuff with Imagineers. I like to stand at the exit and hear what people say as they leave and see how fast they get right back on it again. Okay. How fast they come back to the park at 6 in the morning to get it.
And what you're saying, the fact is only X number of people can ride it a day. That number is not going to change. So what is the best way to make those X rides? And I see both sides completely.
A UFC fight at the main gate to get
really
in.
Do. And Gideon, what is your opinion of this attraction?
Well, for one thing, I feel like that virtual groups could be done differently. I feel that I feel like the virtual groups is a good idea. But instead of having everything go out at one time, pump them all out, give all the groups, they should have like several spots throughout the day. And I'm pretty sure like they're doing this right now because of COVID, right?
That is how they're doing it now.
Yeah,
yes.
They should have like give out.
It was 3 at first, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 3, now it's 2.
Like 30 here, 30 here, and then give out the rest later, depending.
And that's cool because it gives the person who might come casually later in the day a chance to ride.
But you're still limited to riding it once a day. I think that probably is the best happy medium between the methods.
I'll give you the once a day bit. Yes, it kind of does aggravate me that I can only do it once a day as somebody who goes frequently. But if it's more spread out through the day, I have a job. Like if you're not here on vacation, you don't have a chance.
What else do you think about this thing?
Well, to be honest, I don't remember if I knew that you entered and exited in the same door of the ITS when I first rode it. I'm not sure. I don't remember if I knew that yet or if I learned it then. But I'm pretty sure I did learn it then, right? Do you remember?
I don't remember either.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure I learned it then. I wasn't sure. And then just, whoa, same door. Okay, how on earth is this happening? And I was just so confused, so mind-boggled, going, okay, so they do. How on earth? And watching videos later on YouTube explaining how they do it, it's just like, wow, that's genius. And then going through the ride, seeing the giant room, and one of the weirdest things is how you have this giant room with so many troopers in it, and you just walk right through it. It's not some major, whoa, stay here for like 5 minutes and stare at this thing. You just go right through like it's nothing.
And that makes it better.
I mean, yeah. I mean, not necessarily better.
That goes back to the scale.
Amazing.
The scale is huge on that.
The fact that they would do something that grand, and that's not the center of the attraction. That's just building up the atmosphere, the feeling.
It is on the brochures, but
actually in this place. Mr. Negative.
That was one of the things where I felt very spoiled about being in the media, because when we went for the media day, they let us hang out in that hangar as long as we wanted. And we were taking pictures. There's like a ride vehicle there that we were allowed to sit in and take photos and stuff. And then when I came with my wife, I was like, hey, you should get in the ride vehicle and I'll take a photo of you. And the Imperial officer was like, you can't go in there. And they moved us along. And like,
we couldn't get in the ride vehicle for media. It was just you guys.
I was told that that's the test vehicle. Like if they're not sure about somebody dimensionally appropriate for it, that was how they would do.
I don't know.
Maybe they just don't want to.
Because there's no dimensional challenge for it. It is designed for everybody. I mean, the only reason that there's a height limit is because there's a 25-foot drop at the end that scares the
Is it that high?
Yeah.
I thought it was 9 feet. All right.
No. Because you go up that far and then you drop and then you have to go a little bit further.
Do you think it'll ever go, as the questioner, ever just become another ride in terms of queuing?
I think it will. I mean, you look at stuff like Hagrid's motorbikes that, up until just before everything shut down was barely getting one guest through a day. And it's something that could happen.
Back again. I look forward to that happening because it would be.
Or they could build a second track like Midway Mania.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about how there are 2 different paths that you take on this ride.
Why don't you talk about that, Jeremiah?
Yeah.
I think Mike should talk about that.
There are 2 different paths you can take on this ride.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
So, okay,
have we
now because of both my nap and my internet connection issues, I've missed large chunks of this stream. Have we talked about much? Have we gone through a progression of all the
Mike,
stuff that you see?
Please do.
Okay, so after you get in the ride vehicle, you pass through what they're calling the disco room, which is where you pass 2 empty ride vehicles returning to the loading area, and those are the ones that are coming back from where they've dropped people off at the ride exit.
Actually, just figured out how that worked.
And I just thought that's such a cool moment to me as well. And yeah, I think it took me a few rides to kind of figure out where are they coming
there's 4
from?
different ways you go. Yeah. I was there's 4 different ways the guests can go. I'm like, how is there only 2 vehicles? Then I realized, those are all nice hidden doors. That's fun.
Exactly. And then you go see the probe droid. And then after that is when you split off for the first time, right? Jeremiah?
No, when you pull out and you do the disco room, the 2 vehicles, one goes in front, so one's directly in front of the probe droid, and then one's behind it. And then you go into the next room, and then you back out of that room, and then you pull into the AT-ATs, which is when they actually split up.
So one vehicle
That's
goes.
My favorite part of the ride.
One vehicle goes underneath the AT-AT and then backs up and goes up the elevator on the right-hand side of that AT-AT, and the other vehicle goes around to the front of the AT-AT and goes up that elevator. And how are those 2 paths different when you get to the top? One of them goes to, well, I guess they both go past the lasers when you meet up again, but what's different right when you get to the top?
They go around to the bridge. and they're on different sides of the
Right.
bridge.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you back out, and then you see Kylo, which this is something that I didn't realize until just, I think, maybe last week. When you back out of the bridge and you see the two different, you split up to go to the two different elevators, and you see the Kylo projection, which is film, but the lightsaber is practical. One side has Kylo holding the saber down, and the other side has Kylo holding the saber up.
Oh.
And then you pull into the elevator, which is when the saber comes through the roof.
Great effect.
Yeah.
Continue, Mike.
I'm trying to remember after you get off the elevator.
I got it, Mike.
Yeah.
So after you get off the elevator, you come around, and then you go into the major gun section. Not like Tony with his shirt off or anything. Come on,
that's
Tony.
kind of a compliment, I guess. They're furry right now. They're nothing good to look at.
And that section, like, they have the 3 blaster cannons, but as cool as those cannons are, if you look off to the side and they have the 3 giant screens, they're much like the screens on Radiator Springs Racers or Jurassic World, that are the type that your eye follows the vehicle. So when you're looking at it here, it's tilting, so you're seeing the correct perspective of it. And then after you go through the gun room, you pull around, and you're at the viewport where Finn is telling you need to escape, and then all of a sudden the coolest animatronic of Kylo pops out, and then
I'll give you that. That figure's fantastic.
Yeah, he moves so fluidly, and it's surprising. As many times as I've been on it, I've only seen the B mode with the TIE fighter outside once. But so he's sitting there, I control you. That was my Kylo, yes.
Just for a quick second, Jeremiah. Tony, could you do that animatronic? Hold on one second.
No, he's recording it, isn't it? It's like that. Ow, I hit my head.
Thank you, Tony. Continue, Jeremiah.
So he's talking, and then to the right, and through the viewport, you see a TIE fighter being hit by a resistance vehicle of some type, and it hits the side of the building that causes the hole that is pulling the air out. And Tony, go ahead, you can do it again. And Kylo does that.
No!
What? So one of my favorite things about that scene,
I paid $5 million. Where's my money?
If you look when the back wall bursts off, much like it does in Mystic Manor. There's your tie. There's your tie-in there. It looks like smoke is being pulled out at the bottom, or air. It's actually just a big thing of cotton rolling in a circle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I know. And then somebody just got a message.
That was me.
And then you back out, you go to the escape pod, you drop, your escape pod overshoots the landing area, which actually it crashes into the Savian Sons salvage yard. And then you pull out, and then you see my favorite part of the movie, or the ride, when Finn's trying to find Beck, and usually Beck's like this. And then when he comes to, after they say, "Where's Beck?" he goes, and then you back out and you unload. Is that who that was? I couldn't tell if that was Beck or not.
Yeah, that's Lieutenant Beck.
I actually love all the Beck figures on that attraction. I think the Beck figures are really well done.
So sorry.
Oh yeah, I sent Doobie the video I shot of my favorite part of the.
No, that's where I'm going next, is to get everyone's, even you, Tony, favorite part. So let's show Mike's real quick.
Well, this is my favorite part of the actual ride through experience. And my favorite part of the entire experience is still the door opening and going into the hangar and stuff.
Let's see if this works.
the location of the secret base, and then I will destroy you and the resistance.
Yeah. So
Tony did it better, by the way.
Thank you. That's my goal in life, is to simulate animatronics for 2 seconds at a time.
But your overall favorite part is the fact that you go in and out the same door?
Yeah, just that moment of entering the hangar from the shuttle.
Okay, the hangar reveal. Yes. How about you, Tony?
So I know you all think my favorite part of the attraction is the exit. It's actually not. There's that 4.5 minute chunk is great. I like it. It's just the whole preamble to it. But on the attraction, when you come around that corner and you see I call them AT-ATs. I've heard discretion, AT-ATs, whatever. But when you come around the corner and see both of those right there, again, the scale of that is just so impressive because they're actually there. It takes me back to when I first went on Indiana Jones in '95, when you round that corner and you're in what I call the arena room with the giant head and all the fire and everything like that. That same kind of feeling came out of that room. And I recognized those. So I was even more like, oh, I know that.
Really? I thought the only thing you knew from there was the Millennium Falcon. There was nothing else in the land that was
No,
recognized?
I was saying in the land proper, the casual fan would probably only recognize the Millennium Falcon.
I'm sorry. Okay. Shelley, your favorite?
I like it when you're going past the cannons.
Yeah.
Jeremiah, before you give yours, quick question from the ride expert here. The drop at the end, someone is asking, is that a free fall or is it more of a controlled drop?
it's a controlled drop. It's not as I've gone on it with people that was one of the biggest problems with the Imagineering special on Disney Plus was that animatic that they show of it dropping, and everybody freaks out. Like, oh my god, I can't go on its Tower of Terror. No. And then when we finally get there, like I went on it with my friend in California who was stressed about it so much, and I showed him that video. I showed him another video. I showed him everything that I could. And finally, when he did it, he's like, that wasn't that bad. No, because it's not supposed to be the thrilling attraction. It's just the big finale. Tony?
What I want to say about that drop, and it also happens for Millennium Falcon also, I love the subtlety that footage that you see changes by the time of day. So if you ride the ride at night and you drop, when you come back to Batu, it's night.
Well,
I think that's... I don't remember the ITS at night. Half the time I actually got escorted around the ITS. So
You can play, Judy.
Yeah, but like they also have a night scene for the ITS shuttle.
okay.
I've seen videos.
But that's awesome. But the subtlety of it is what makes it like you don't expect that. You expect it to be the same no matter what time.
It's almost as if they, put a lot of money into this, Tony. Jeremiah, how about you?
Too much
That money could have been spent on making Mickey and
On
Minnie's
that.
Runaway Railway either daytime or nighttime, depending on when you rode it.
Thank you, Mike.
That one's got a storytelling excuse though too, because you're in the cartoon that's set at the perfect picnic. But that's a different ride for a different time.
Tony, admit your defeat. Jeremiah, what's your favorite?
I knew I was defeated coming into this thing.
It's hard because the AT-AT room to me is always you pull in there and it's just wow. Like I'm pretty sure that I have more blurry pictures of the AT-ATs than anything else on the entire attraction because it's like but I think one of the things that we skipped over is one of the coolest things in the first pre-show room when Rey appears. Like, how cool is it that it actually seemed?
Sorry, I wanted to one up Tony.
Okay,
That's fine. Is that the new one from today?
Yeah, this came out today.
It's we're so programmed for pre-show rooms. Taco Bell of videos, seeing what we conceive as a hologram pop up. That is one of those wows that every time I'm in the room with people, they're like, how do they do that? And it's not that difficult to figure out if you pay attention to it long enough. But it's just, I think from start to finish, I mean, it is my favorite attraction. So it's hard to say the number one part is this, but I like the draw.
How about you, Gideon?
Oh, me. My favorite part, just the ITS. From the moment you step out of the Ray pre-show room and you just see the ship docked by these rocks and next to the X-ray, it's just really epic. And then you go inside and then you see the animatronics. Not only is there the front window with the animatronic, which I pay attention to little. But mostly I'm watching the back window because there's a lot more to see in the back window. For example, the back window is actually the Star Destroyer you're pulled into. So you can see the stormtroopers as they run into the hangar. And it's really cool, the attention to detail with that kind of stuff.
Wait, the stormtroopers that are assembled there when you get out, if you look out the back window, you can watch them run into the hangar to assemble?
It's like...
That is incredible.
It's neat.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That would actually, I haven't noticed that. That would bother me more because now they're not moving.
20 of them
Start
move.
attention.
20 of them move. The
Hold on,
ITS
here's my impression of those ones.
They are soldiers at attention. Why should they be moving?
Doobie, what's your favorite part?
Sounds right. I'm surprised it took that long. An hour and 6 minutes in, that finally.
I gave you a chance. I even came around on some of your thoughts, but when you complained that the huge reveal room is made worse by the fact that before that you can watch them assembling, you jumped the shark of common sense.
I like that metaphor. That's good. I like that.
You can't use it. I want it used by someone better. Let me think. My favorite part is the generality, the scale of it, the fact that they went all out for this attraction from start to finish and never let up. Usually that's not the case. Usually they let up at some point and, let common sense and budgets and all that come into play. But here, they really did not. They decided we're going to give it all to this attraction. This is going to be the best that WDI can absolutely produce. And I don't think there's any place where they skimped. It's just amazing. But if I had to pick one place that is my favorite, it is the room where the guns are. That's a really cool room. I like it. I will say another disappointment.
Bang, bang.
It's hard to call this a disappointment because I don't know what I expect them to do. There are limitations to what A's can do. But in the Kylo Ren room, can you do it again, Tony? He never gets sucked out or falls or anything. He does that for a while and the thing closes. It just never feels quite real enough to me. Like maybe the thing should have closed in front of him sooner, or it gets dark or something. But it looks like he's standing there going like this, as opposed to actually being sucked out.
It looks like he's going, "Whoa, close the curtains."
Yeah, and I feel like that could have been executed a little bit better to make it. Honestly, as dumb as I am, if I didn't know that's what was happening, I probably would have thought, "Why is he going like this?" instead of he's being sucked out of there. So, little quibble, but anyway. There you go.
Mike, what is that in the screen? Is that the dumpster fire that is 2020?
It's the Gonk droid.
Okay.
So wait, Mike, you have Star Wars toys in your home?
A couple.
So, first of all,
I have the DJ Rex that Tony has. He's like up here on the shelf.
Do you use them or play with them?
I did once.
Okay. Every now and then, mine just walks around or roams around the house at midnight, creeping out my roommates. So,
well, you know what was disappointing? We were gonna use it as a Bluetooth radio to play music and stuff, but it turns off after a few minutes.
What I thought was now it's a merchandise review. Sorry. What I thought was dumb is it's 8 AA batteries.
Yeah,
I got
to take those batteries out of there before they melt. Thank you for reminding me.
I need to ask Shelly, do you need to speak more? You're good?
I'm good. I'm feeling really good about my contributions tonight.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to say before we
I would.
go ahead?
This is what happens at the end of the ride. You get into the CA pod, you drop. Yep,
Right about that length, right?
Spoiler.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jeremiah, please.
So this is just totally like me being geeky, and Mike would be at this level if he has ridden the attraction when he's conscious yet. When you're on the ITS and Beck is talking to Nine Nub, at one point he says, "Oh no, we're caught in the tractor beam," and he goes, "Nine Nub, do you have any ideas?" He answers him and he says, "No, the tractor beam's too powerful." I want, and if somebody knows Scott Throwbridge and can ask him this question, I want this answer. I just want to know that Nine Nub says, let's just ease off on our main thrusters and we'll be out of there. Because Star Tours, that's how they get out of the tractor beam in the original attraction. That's all I want to know. Just somebody that can translate what he says for me. If it's not, fine. I just want an official word.
That's Tony.
If we meet Scott Trowbridge, can I ask him why you said, let's take Spider-Man and just ramp it up with a little more Star Wars?
First of all, if we meet Scott Trowbridge, we're not wasting our time with Tony asking him questions. I'm pretty sure that. Nor are we going to have that one Jeremiah asked. This is valuable time. We're going to find out really important stuff. So we're going to let Mike do that interview.
Scott Trowbridge, did you think that your attractions in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge would remove the opening welcome messages from Disneyland Park?
What?
Instead of saying...
No, just keep going. Just keep going.
Instead of it saying, hello, welcome to Disneyland, like whatever rope drop time is, and they play part of the speech and whatever song they play, now it goes, if you're looking to board your Rise of the Resistance boarding group, then it's now available. Blah, 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 blah. And then everybody creepily Truman Show goes like this for about 45 seconds, and one of the most surreal things you'll ever see.
When I went and did that with Cole, when Cole was in town, and we went together to Disneyland, I met him there in the morning. During that moment when everybody was on their phones, Mickey was around the corner by the Opera House, tucked away in that corner there by the Mad Hatter or whatever. And there was no one waiting. Mickey was just like waiting there by himself for somebody to want to come and take a photo with him. And everybody was just like trying to get their Rise of the Resistance.
That is not the best part of
okay.
The whole thing.
I avoided saying this earlier, but I think Doobie and I can definitely remember back in the summer of 1995, I can put my hand down, that, Tony, you're talking about how people are going straight to Rise, and that's the only thing that they can do.
No, nobody's going straight to Rise. They're going to their phone, and I'm, again, Holy Hollywood Studios. They're going to their phone by, the old tipboard place. Sorry,
Indiana Jones had a 6-hour wait, and people were in line for that all day long, and then they would complain after they got off that was the only ride that they could do because the line was so long. So this isn't something new. It's just a new way to approach it.
It's also not going to be permanent forever. There is going to be a time, maybe 5 years from now, where you'll be able to get into a standby queue for Rise of the Resistance, right? That's going to happen eventually.
Don't they have a sign that says standby queue or something?
Yeah, one of the things says standby. They're definitely planned for it. Did you have something else you wanted to say, Gideon?
I have two things.
Go for
One,
it.
Jeremiah, you messed up the name of the Indiana Jones ride. It's Indiana Jones in the Temple of the 4-Hour Line. And two,
I just spilled all over myself. That is
Why?
the tea spilling.
Why? Doobie?
Sorry, go on, Gideon. Go on.
and two, the thing you were talking about, Jeremiah, with what Nine says, how when we get out the tractor beam, that's actually a scene that extends it. There's actually a version of the ITS that doesn't have that little extra 15 seconds of dialogue. And I'm assuming it's so if they have some kind of delay, they can extend it just the smallest bit so they can get a little bit of extra time. Because I've noticed some videos they do have that extra dialogue, and some videos they don't.
I have heard that almost every scene has extended dialogue, extended fillers. Like I've been in the Ray BB-8 room where BB-8's been trying to work forever, and then Ray pops up. The ITS does have I was in there at one point where they were running through systems checks before you even took off. So it just depends on how everything's flowing. I mean, we have a video that we're going to put up later on today of the B mode for the Kylo Ren scene where it is the TIE fighter at the end.
Really
so
cool.
There is everything.
Tony, do you have anything else you need to say? Are you done?
I have so much, but I don't want to waste anybody's time.
Yeah, don't feed him.
I wish I knew Mike C's story ahead of time, because that little metaphor of Mickey just standing in a corner at Disneyland while everybody else is focused on getting on this thing. Very poetic.
Well, I actually tweeted a photo because as soon as we had our boarding group number, I ran over and I was first to take a photo with Mickey because there was no one else there. And I tweeted out the photo because I was like, no, wait for Mickey. But yeah, that was fun.
I will not.
Hollywood Studios, 1,000%. Disneyland,
hopefully that gets improved. That is a great fault. But as bad as that is, I still think it's better than forcing a guest to wait in a 4, 5, 6 hour line to ride the attraction. That's what I think. No one asked, no one cares, but that's what I think, and I get to run the button, so that's the last
but
word.
If you okay,
or not, Tony, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but if you see that it's a 4-hour wait on the sign, I can go, oh, I don't want to wait in that 4-hour wait. Whereas I hit a random lottery, now I'm being told it's a 4-hour wait.
But considering it's always a 4-hour wait, if you want to ride the attraction, you're going to wait 4 hours.
Got it.
Correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just saying at least. Oh, Jeremiah's gone. Bye.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Are you done, Tony?
I'm done.
Okay. You sure? I want to give you the last word.
No, it's fine. I'm sure we have stuff to promote.
At Jurassic World, Tony.
Tony, thank you for joining us.
How are the dinosaurs at Jurassic World, Tony?
They're loose again. Call somebody.
Do you like Fallen Kingdom, Tony?
No.
That's next Sunday. Another hour and 18 minutes of. Except I'd be right on that one.
In all seriousness, Tony, thank you for agreeing to be a part of this show, knowing exactly what you were in for. Greatly appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you as well, Mike C, for joining us. And then, as always, I thank Jeremiah and Shelley, Gideon and Rebecca, and I thank myself for being a part of this. Before we close out, we have to find out what we're going to be talking about next week.
Spin the wheel.
The wheel.
Spin the wheel.
Great movie ride. Great movie ride.
Every time.
You get one we've
Mango
already
barbecue.
Great movie ride. Why not? But we got. Okay, I am so sorry. This is what we got. This is Great Movie Ride.
Oh, we got Big
It
Thunder
was
Mountain.
even on Great Movie Ride thing, but nope. Wow. Second time.
So what do we got?
Oh, you got Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Yay,
No one has anything negative to say about that.
I do.
Well, actually, I'm joking. No, Wait, which coast are we talking about?
We do them both.
Paris.
Okay.
And
It's just going to be Tony. It's just going to be Mike and I talking next week. We're only talking about Paris.
Jeremiah, you've done it in Paris?
So is Mike.
So we're talking about you.
You guys are so silly.
Is there one in Tokyo? Hong Kong?
Yes.
Shanghai?
Not Hong Kong, not Shanghai.
Oh, Rebecca's
Hong
reading
Kong's
Tokyo.
got Grizzly Gulch.
Same thing, right? We got to include that?
No, different
No.
attraction. That's more Everest.
Oh, okay. All right. Tomorrow, 9 a.m., where are you going to be, Jeremiah? 9 a.m. Pacific time.
Disney's Animal Kingdom
And
for a walk and talk time.
for a park walk and talk. Looking forward to that. Tomorrow at 4, we've got our normal park update with 3 of us and 1 person no longer on this camera. And tomorrow at 7:30 p.m., you guys are doing an LP movie club for the wonderful film called
Phineas and Ferb, Candace.
It's so good.
I've heard it's good. Okay, thanks everyone for enduring this.
Never
Enduring
seen a
this.
theater first.
Thank you. Thank you guys for putting up with it too. That's all. See you later.
Wait until the cameras are off.
Everybody wave.
Turn them off.
Wait, now I see there's a private chat message. Let me see if there's something I have to address. So keep waving.
Uh-oh.
Nope, we're good. Okay.
Okay.